JBN, we keep you informed. 6 shot, 3 fatally in separate gun attacks in St. Anne. Gunmen went on a rampage in St. Anne on Sunday, killing 3 men and shooting 3 others in separate incidents in the Clarendon parish. The deceased have been identified as 55-year-old Anthony Taylor, a mechanic of Lewis District, 24-year-old Jamil Ellis, otherwise called Munga of Steer Town, and a 32-year-old O'Neill Winter, otherwise called Pumba, also Steer Town, all in St. Anne. In the first incident on Sunday, police said that Taylor and the 3 men were shot on Hibiscus Way in Priory while working on a car. According to the Corporate Communications Unit CCU, about 9 a.m. Taylor was working on a motor car along the roadway, which had earlier met in an accident. It is alleged that armed men traveling in a Toyota Fielder motor car approached Taylor and the 3 other bystanders and opened gunfire. The police were summoned, and on their arrival, all 4 men were seen with gunshot wounds. They were taken to the hospital where Taylor was pronounced dead, and the other men admitted in serious but stable condition. Minutes later, gunmen struck again in St. Anne, killing Ellis and Winter at a beach in Miami Bay, according to the police. The St. Anne's Bay police reported that about 10:54 a.m., both men were on the beach when armed men traveling a Toyota motor car approached them. The assailants alighted from the vehicle and opened gunfire, hitting Ellis and Winter before making their escape in the vehicle. The police were summoned and the victims were taken to the hospital where they were pronounced dead. According to the CCU, the lawmen have since seized the motor car involved in the incident, which crashed following the shooting. They did not indicate where the vehicle crashed. However, police are now in search of the perpetrators. Meanwhile, investigations are continuing into both shooting incidents. 1 killed, 3 injured in Whitehall Avenue shooting. Gunmen struck Sunday night on Whitehall Avenue in St. Andrew, leaving 1 man dead and 3 injured. About 10 o'clock, persons were sitting along a lane off Whitehall Avenue when a brown Toyota Corolla drove up. 2 men alighted and began to open fire at the group. It was discovered that 4 persons were shot. They were taken to the hospital where 33-year-old Bernard Mackenzie, an electrician of Whitehall Avenue, was pronounced dead. The St. Andrew North Police are keeping a close watch on the area. Meanwhile, data released Sunday showed that 1,249 people were murdered in Jamaica between January 1 and December 7. There were 27 more murders when compared to the same period last year. November was the second bloodiest month this year. Some 130 people were killed during the month. March recorded the highest number of murders with 134. The St. Andrew South Police Division had the highest number of homicides, 161, up from 142 last year. The data show that 582 motor vehicles have been stolen in Jamaica so far this year. The figure comprises 442 motor cars, 26 trucks, 23 buses, and 91 motorcycles. According to the crime figures, more than 2,000 vehicles have been stolen in Jamaica over the last 4 years. Crash on Chesterfield Drive leaves 2 persons dead. 2 persons have died as a result of injuries sustained in a motor car after a collision on Chesterfield Drive in St. Andrew on Monday. The deceased have not been identified, but eyewitnesses say they are among 4 persons rescued from the crashed car before it burst into flames. The incident involved 3 vehicles, a car, a truck, and a trailer. Eyewitnesses said that sometime after 11 a.m., the car, which was heading east towards Marcus Garvey Drive, crashed into one of the rear tires of the truck, which was heading west towards Seaview Gardens. The car reportedly veered into the path of a trailer, which, in an attempt to escape it, swerved off the roadway. It is unclear what caused the car to burst into flames. Persons on the scene said that the 4 occupants of the car were rescued and taken to the hospital, where 2 of them died. Some 397 persons have been killed due to traffic crashes since the start of the year. The Road Safety Unit says that of those 397 deaths, vulnerable road users such as motorcyclists, pedestrians, cyclists, and pillion passengers account for 64% of fatalities. Road fatalities for 2019 are projected to increase by 7% when compared with 2018, when 389 persons died as a result of road crashes. Bus driver beats up cop. A popular Jamaica Union of Travelers Association Juta tour bus operator who allegedly beat up a police constable last Friday, has been arrested and charged. Facing charges of assaulting a constable and resisting arrest is 34-year-old Trevor Baines of Cops in Hanover. Reports by the Anchovy police are that about 4 p.m., the constable was among a group of policemen who traveled to the Wilshire community in Anchovy, St. James, to pick up Baines in relation to a report of malicious destruction of property which was made against them in Montego Bay. Upon entering the yard, Baines was spotted by the officers who started to question him. He reportedly started to act boisterously and attempted to walk away. He was held by the constable, but Baines immediately started to land several blows to the officer's body, as both men got caught up in a physical confrontation. The other lawmen immediately jumped in and subdued the accused, who was taken into custody and subsequently charged. Baines is booked to appear in the St. James Parish Court early this week. Man pulls gun on co-worker. A medical engineer who allegedly pulled his licensed gun and used it to threaten an electrician was arrested and charged on the weekend. Nicholas Plain, 66, of Unity Hall in St. James, is now facing charges of assault at common law and illegal possession of a gun and ammunition. The incident occurred while both Plains and the electrician were on duty at their workplace, the Cornwall Regional Hospital, CRH, in Montego Bay. Reports by the police are that last Tuesday about 7:30 a.m., Plains stormed into the maintenance department and accused the 34-year-old electrician of stealing his cell phone. The electrician denied stealing the device, but Plains reportedly pulled his gun and held the electrician at gunpoint. Persons reportedly ran from the office while the gun-toting engineer asked another co-worker to call his cell phone. The cell phone was heard ringing on a table inside the lunchroom. After it was handed over to Plains, he holstered his weapon and left the office. The electrician, who it is alleged was still trembling and covered in cold sweat, left the office after several minutes and made a report at the Mount Salem police station. An investigation was carried out, and Plains was taken into custody last Thursday, where his gun was seized. Concerns raised as almost 30,000 youths engage in hazardous work. More than 25% of 11th graders of the Bustamante High School, students from the Rocky Point community in Clarendon, drop out of high school before sitting their final exams, according to officials from the institution, who last week bemoaned a culture of child labor at the fishing village. In other instances, teachers and the staff from the institution have had to comb the beach almost daily looking for truant students who flock the fishing village whenever fishermen return from sea and offer their services or solicit food to sell so they can feed themselves and families. 10th graders Jerome Swaby and his schoolmate Jeffrey Jeffries, not their real names, have been stacking lobsters and gutting fish for earnings at the Rocky Point fishing village in Clarendon for several months. As they packed ice around freshly caught lobsters last Wednesday, fish vendors explained that there are many more like them who are paid upwards of $1,000 a day for their duties. Fish vendors last week claimed the youngsters are never allowed on fishing expeditions and that working at the fishing village teaches them responsibility, patience, and customer service. It also exposed them to brotherly love and advice and shields them from the lures of criminality rampant in Clarendon, where informal community and gangs promise quick gains for youths. Many of these children have lost their parents at sea and have no solid support at home, they explained. For some, their parents do not care about their whereabouts, leaving them to wander the beachfront. Farms and fishing villages like Rocky Point in Clarendon are being blamed as the main reasons that the parish ranks the highest for child labor violations in Jamaica, which according to a 2016 study by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica and the Ministry of Labor and Social Security was at an estimated 30,000 suspected cases island-wide. It is the tradition of that community where students drop out of school and engage from activities that they earn from. It has been a long-standing issue. In fact, the dropout rate from that community has been a serious concern for us for a long time, said Wayne Evans, principal of the Bustamante High School. A lot of the children don't finish school from that community, continued Evans, noting the struggles of some children and the school's efforts to provide support for them. Some stop attending and we paid for CXCs for them, and we had to literally go and get the children to do the exam. In that community, by the time they reach 16, 17, that's when the family support falls apart, he said, adding that some students are very talented and their dropping out of school demotivates some teachers personally. Arthur Coleman, president of the Rocky Point Benevolent Society, said there is a mixture of realities faced by the youngsters who wander the beach each day. Some children go on the beach to make a living because their parents are poor and are not able to send them to school, so they cut fish and hustle, sell fish on the boats that come in to go to school, said Coleman. But you have another set that are loose. They have no parental guidance, so they don't go to school. They just cut fish on the beach and that's their job. They don't bother to go to school, he continued, adding that the issue has been one of contention in meetings. According to a 2016 study by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica and the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Clarendon recorded more than 5,000 suspected cases of child labour. St. Elizabeth followed with 4,126, then St. Thomas third with 4,078 cases. Most of the cases are believed to be centered at the island's fishing villages, where most forms of child labor are considered hazardous. Sasha Dear Gordon, head of the Child Labor Unit in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, said many Jamaican families face tough economic times, but warned that child labor cannot be the solution. Child labor opens up Jamaican children to a string of more heinous forms of child abuse, such as sexual assault and human trafficking. We have approximately 38,000 of our children engaged in child labor across the island, and of that number, 26,000 of them are engaged in hazardous work. These include handling heavy machinery and spraying farm chemicals, said Dear Gordon, adding children were brought to suit their parents to the hazardous category. This type of work affects physical and mental development of children of a certain age group, argued Dear Gordon, noting that the unit still receives reports of children, especially in the rural areas, being withheld from school to work on their parents' farms. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.